Good morning, everybody. I'm Joerg, the founder and CEO of DC Smarter. We are a startup based out of Germany, helping customers to reach operational excellence and compliance. What we always start with is asset and configuration management. And there is a reason for that. So today in my session, I will talk to you about some common pitfalls in IT service management, and in particular in asset and configuration management. So my target for today is first, create awareness on what the real problem is. Second, explain why we're struggling. And third, provide you with some ideas and solutions on how to improve that. So without further ado, let's get started. Latest since Web 2.0, which is the era of e-commerce, digital payment solutions, and social media, and the monetization of data, I'm sure you all agree that we are in the middle of the digital age. And the pace of this evolution is faster than any time before. With that, the complexity of IT is increasing. Personally, I started my professional IT career in the early 90s. So for those of you who've been around, you may remember IBM AS400, mid-range based computing. So heavily centralized to nowadays, heavily decentralized, where we deal with hyper-converged infrastructure, cloud computing, microservices, blockchain, and so on. But when I look back in my 30 years in the industry, I see at least 2 out of 3 common challenges which are not new and they still exist. It's about documentation management and an increasing amount of major outages caused by change and human error. Well, you may say, we're living in the digital age, right? And computers do all the work. How could that be the case? The answer is simple. We, the human species, still required, but we're not machines. And as humans, we're prone to failure. Back in 2002, when I worked for a large multinational company, during a Six Sigma assignment. And for those of you who don't know Six Sigma stands for Total Quality Management. I was tasked to heavily reduce waste in the process in the automotive industry. And the first thing I had to learn was humans are considered as a noise factor. Yes, you hear that correctly, noise. Back then, I thought, wow, if we are all noise, what am I going to do in 20 years from now? But guess what? 20 years later, 2022, I'm here, you are here, and we, the noise factor, still required. The point I'm trying to make here is, yes, humans are not machines. And yes, we are prone to failure. But our mission is not replacing somebody or someone. It's about helping humans to become more efficient and effective so that you can work on other valuable tasks. How? Through digitalization and automation. Back to my experience in the automotive sector. After studying and understanding human behavior, the causes, the effects, we were able to come up with a solution which successfully reduced waste, improving the average product introduction from 90 days to 30 days. How? By automating and digitalization of the entire workflow to allow humans, us, the noise factor, to take quickly informed decisions. So there could be many reasons why humans are prone to failure. And this is where you need to start your journey. Take use of example of tools like the 5 Why methodology. You never heard about it. You basically ask why until you get to the real root cause, but latest after 5 times, you will find out what it is. Try it. It works. So what are these disturbing factors? Top left, leadership and management. This is when your boss approaches you after a long weekend and tells you to finish something urgently by this Friday, something you have never worked on. And yes, your boss is on a business trip, unavailable until Thursday. So you have questions. Individual factors, more cognitive. This is Friday afternoon. You're getting tired, ready for the weekend. You've done it already 100 times, and you're asked to do it another 10 times. And yes, you're damn good in what you're doing, but you do it your way. But in the meantime, your standard operating procedure and your checklist have changed. Physical factors. This is when a human error is unavoidable due to a design flaw or an error. Environmental. We're working a lot with data centers. Look, a data center is cold, is loud, and is dark. Now you should better understand why human error occurs and why also documentation is not getting better. And I have to admit, back in the 90s, I was a hardcore engineer, and documentation and standard operating procedures and checklists was not my favorite. My experience is that the more technical, the lesser the interest in boring tasks and documentation. Well, why should you care? We're here at an IT service management event, right? And if you're involved in one of those domains shown here on this slide, you should care, as they heavily depend on good configuration and asset management, which means documentation management. I talked before humans, the noise factor, and the need for documentation management in order to take informed decisions. Remember, I was providing you with my example from the automotive industry, and I'm sure you got yours. The question is, how can I get quickly to the top of the pyramid? Well, it's a journey, as Mr. Einstein once said. Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire IT. Funny that Einstein talked about IT, right? In ITSM, there is a logical model that is followed to help customers and organizations to understand decision support related to ITSM. The model is called DIKW model: data, information, knowledge, wisdom. Data is translated into information, information to knowledge, and knowledge to wisdom for decision support. At each level within this DIKW model, a decision can be made. But the higher you go up in the model, the better a decision is going to be. This is because of the relationships they are built on each other. So if you have implemented ITSM, most of you will be in the pyramid schema somewhere in between information and knowledge. A CMDB, configuration management database, plays a crucial role. It is basically your skeleton connecting your bones, your ribs, everything. So if you don't know how to get there, don't panic. You're not alone. The good news is there are solutions on the market. So either you got an army of people, right? So either you got an army of people who don't do anything else than data crunching, data cleansing, data quality checks. Or you invest in an automation tool which does it for you. One solution is Device42. It's a secure on-premise or cloud-hosted agentless discovery and mapping tool, which gives you a single consolidated view into the truth about your technology environment, allowing you to make the right decision the first time. For the most important aspect is whatever tool you choose, it has to support your hybrid infrastructure. Think about it. We're in the middle of cloud transformations. It should support your infrastructure either hosted on-premise or in the cloud. There's a separate session on Device42 later, so that's why I'm not going further into detail here. Welcome to the future. So now let's become a little bit more innovative and futuristic. Here we go. This is my HoloLens augmented reality glasses. Let me show and explain you how digitalization and automation using augmented reality can help engineers to get the job done by having fun doing so. Forgive me if the video is not a high-def professional recording inside a real data center. It was actually recorded by myself last week from my place using a demo rig. But that's not required because you will get the gist of it. So what you will see here is basically 3 in a box: our augmented reality solution, Device42, and ITSM. Many use cases, and they're all based on digital twins. It allows you supervise, training, process adherence, and remote assist. By simple scanning of a QR code, you basically get your digital twin. It overlays your real physical object, hands-free operation. No other tool is required. You move it aside, and it's not in your field of vision. Now, remote assist, a very key component. There's a little icon, as you can see. It allows you to call in an experienced backend engineer that can support you more from an on-site support engineer anytime, anywhere. AI, machine learning, allows you to perform object recognition, to question what I'm seeing is in front of me is what is documented in the backend. Green color means it matches. Red means an anomaly. There's an integration into configuration and asset management. An engineer then get basically more technical details required to perform the job. Also important are so-called logical dependencies. As I said before, this is important from infrastructure up to the application. You really want to know what this asset is related to if you introduce a change or you work on an incident. How about some technical white paper or knowledge articles on the fly? There we go. Now you can pull the information right in front of you in your vision. You get it at the time you need it and perform your task. Asset management is the next one. In the data center, often what you do is a common task is called racking and stacking. So you basically have to add assets, you remove assets from a rack. Well, as you do it, you document it on the fly. And all is pre-populated because of auto-discovery in the backend system. So the make is known, the model is known, it's there. Now I've just had to document it inside the rack and go for it. The same applies for the decommissioning. Completely connected to your IT service management. The blue box actually means there's an incident or a change for this device. So let's see who is impacted. And here we go. We are back into IT service management and get the business and the process view of such. With that, let me say thank you for your time and attention. And let me hand it over back to our operator and moderator to see if there's any question.
Yes, indeed, there are. We have a little bit of time to discuss with you here. From Thomas, we have firstly a note that it was great to learn that you work together with EFECTE and D42, and he wants to know what is the most burning challenge from customers that this trio can solve together?
The biggest challenge we see at the moment, and this is the biggest ask, is to get the documentation right. 50% of the companies either have a non-complete or poor documentation, and they're really struggling to get it to the highest level possible.
Right. Right. Now, as we have today a sort of technological day, it was very refreshing, again, of course, for all of us to note that not just your company, but you yourself has come from the dark side of technology to the side of humans. And clearly, what we can be seeing is that there are quite a few people who are professionals in the IT industry who gravitate from the purely technical solutions as they become more experienced and wiser to really embrace the human-centric approach. Have you seen this happening more widely in people, or are you the only one among your close peers?
No, I think it goes with staffing, the growing staffing shortage in the industry, right? I think the point is, yes, you grow up in a profession from a junior to become to a senior and to a principal. But the challenges we see, especially in the data center industry, it's a very niche market and it requires a lot of skills. And the challenge we see at the moment is the shortage, the staffing shortage. And this is why we need young talent and we need to find new innovative technologies to make the job more attractive and help them to grow.
Your presentation did spark a slightly skeptical thought in at least one of the viewers who is asking, can what you're talking about and presenting really be used, or is this more like a futuristic thing?
No, so what I was showing you is basically our beta version. It's a full working beta version of a product. What we are now working on, and this is maybe a valid question, is we are only as good as the backend systems. So we are currently building with high speed so-called connectors into the IT service management world, into the data center infrastructure management world, but also into facilities and building management. But the product is beta and functional.
Could you share from your experience how much time is required to adopt such tools like Device 42?
Yeah, very, very good question. So when we get in and implement Device 42, and this is the starting point because we need a strong data center infrastructure management inventory, you could say depends, but it could start with 2 weeks, fast speed, up to 1,000 to 2,000 assets in a company, and can go up to 3 months. 3 months because the customer may say, I really want to go to the highest level possible. I want to document or model out my applications.
We have one more comment here from a student who notes that this looks like Jarvis, Jarvis. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but that's of course an interesting observation. People are looking at many of the technologies they see around here, of course, so comparing to what they see around them existing. But on a final note, what will you yourself, Joerg, be mostly focusing on between waking up and going to sleep? What are you really doing? What are you focusing on in concrete terms? What are you spending your time on or working?
Yeah, no, very good question. So most of the time, actually, I spend time with customers and try to find out what problems they have and how we can help them to solve those. Right.
That is your task, to bring that customer-centric knowledge.
Because of my 30 years of experience in IT, I have a long and big background in many technologies. It's easy for me to take the customer from where they are to finding solutions which work for them.
Exactly. We can tell from what you've been saying and your presentation. Thank you very much, Joerg, for being here with us today and sharing this. We wish you success in the future as well.
Thank you very much.